Nosy Kevin is angry I gave his mom a lap dance. I'm 22 and got a job as an exotic dancer to help pay for school. We get a few creepy people in the club, and not all of them are men. In fact, I danced for a woman in the VIP room not that long ago. The problem is that this woman happened to be my best friend's mom. He found out about it by accident, and now he's mad that I didn't tell him, and I'm not entirely sure I disagree. Alright, so I'm stripping to help pay for college. Tale as old as time. I grew up in a college town, and so I didn't move away, but it's still at least a good school. I'm not saying which one for privacy. My best friend's parents got divorced a couple of years ago, and he, understandably, isn't dealing with it super well. It was a no-fault deal though. No cheating, no abuse, just them deciding they weren't in love anymore and calling it quits. This most recent Saturday, I get called on to give a lap dance to a VIP. Lo and behold, it's my best friend's mom. She's in her late 40s and was very happy to see me. And I was less so, given I've known this woman since I was 6. But money is money, and on the whole, creepy women are still better than creepy men in my experience. It was awkward, but she was polite enough. She was heavy with praise and tipped really well. So on the whole, not the worst thing. But it turns out that my best friend heard her bragging about it to her friends when she was tipsy and on the phone with them. And he blew up at me for not telling him about what his mom was getting up to. My stance is that it's none of his darn business. His parents aren't even married anymore. Not that I'd say anything if they still were, because it's none of my business. But still. I had an awkward but profitable experience with a woman who I have a sneaking suspicion is going to become a regular, and that's it. His stance is that he has a right to know if his mom has become a creepy pervert who gets lap dances from college girls, which I guess I concede is a point I can't entirely argue with. So, am I the jerk here? I get why this original poster isn't fully willing to argue with her friend's concerns, but I definitely don't think she's the jerk here. It's not her job to go around telling people who she saw at the club. It's not like they sign a confidentiality waiver when they walk into the VIP room, but there's probably an unspoken expectation that the dancers will be discreet. Also, while not everyone may agree with those establishments, it seems like you have to be clutching your pearls pretty hard to pass some of the judgments this guy's passing on his own mother. In fact, it's weird that OP is so quick to agree. I'm sure the money's good, but why work in this business if you judge every single person who pays for your services this harshly? In any case, this OP's not the jerk for maintaining a client's privacy. She just might want to be less quick to judge the way a single woman chooses to spend her money, especially if the woman in question tips well and treats the dancers with respect. What do you think? Did OP have an obligation to tell her friend about his mom, or should this be none of his business? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. I fired a woman for getting pregnant instead of working. I feel like the devil right now, so I'll accept whatever judgment you have. I run a team of about 6 people. Our company offers a large amount of maternity leave, 10 months. One of my employees got pregnant recently. I'll call her Jess. Our team does project-based work, and in the period between her leaving for maternity leave and coming back, we finished up the project we were working on when she left and started working on a new project without her. During this period, our team had to adapt to working without her expertise in certain matters. We adapted, and eventually some of us developed the skills needed to do some of her workload. The situation we have now is that me and 2 others split half the work that Jess used to do, and we hired someone new to come into the team to handle the other part of Jess's workload, and then some. This new employee came at significantly reduced cost, as he was straight out of uni, and we pay him a fraction of what Jess costs currently. Now Jess has come back to the team, but there's another issue. Our firm has informed us that, for some effing reason, we no longer have the budget for a 7-person team and will have to let someone go. This news came about when I submitted the paperwork for Jess's return. We are 5 months into a project that should take an estimated 10 months, and my decision came down to Jess and the man we hired to replace her. The reason we hired a replacement, which is not normally what we do, is because we anticipated that the workload for this project would be far greater than our current capacity, which it is not. As you can tell by the title, I chose the replacement. I did so for the following reasons. First, he's far cheaper, thus freeing up a lot more money than keeping Jess on. He was also up to date with the project, and we would be able to move forward seamlessly, whereas with Jess, we would have to take time catching her up to speed on half the project. The clients already knew and liked working with him, whereas they didn't know Jess at all. Plus, she has been out of the field for a prolonged period, whilst he has been here for the past 9 months. So she may or may not find it hard to adapt back to work life, whilst with him, it isn't a question. He also performed his work better than she did hers and interacted better with the team. Obviously, the ideal situation, which I wanted, was to keep both and not put a new single mother with no other job lined up out in the cold. But I had to do right by the team and the firm. I told her I'd write her a brilliant letter of recommendation and that in a few months she could try and apply for a job at our firm. Hopefully we'll have the budget. But she snapped at me and told me not to bother. Then she called me a C-word and left. I know I sound cold and heartless, but I had to be fair to both employees, not just Jess, right? Am I the jerk? Yes. I really don't feel like I need to break this down, but let's go for it anyway. First of all, while this OP isn't in the States, I can't imagine a single first world country where Jess wouldn't be legally protected from this sort of thing. In this post, OP lists a number of reasons for not keeping her on, but in a deleted version of the same post, OP's title suggested Jess was basically fired for getting pregnant. More importantly, even the reasons in this post don't pass muster. This OP says the new hire performed his work better than Jess did, but not long before that, OP says it took 4 people to fill her workload. The new hire only accounted for half of that. In other words, he's quantifiably only half as skilled as she is. If this OP really wanted to do right by the entire firm, it would have been made clear to the new hire that he was only there until Jess got back from leave, and that he would maybe be kept on if he performed well and the budget supported him. This sort of managerial foresight is pivotal in situations like these. And while this is a bit more debatable, one might also argue that the clients should have been made aware of possible staffing changes in the near future so that they wouldn't be blindsided when Jess returned. This is how you cover all of your bases without doing wrong by the senior employee. I just can't believe that any company offering almost a year of maternity leave would have no protections in place to keep this sort of thing from happening. This OP better hope Jess doesn't reach the same conclusion, or else this team might not have seen its last staffing change. Jess dropping the C word might not have helped her case, but I also get the feeling this takes place in the UK, and I'm honestly not positive that's even a bad word over there. Their TV shows tell me it's about as common as Marmite on toast. If you made it this far in the video, consider liking and subscribing for more videos coming. My manservant kissed another woman, so I kicked him out. Around February, I let my coworker Jaden and his daughter Leah move in. We were coworkers and friends for 3 years, and he's always been so funny, smart, and cute. We became really close friends. Unfortunately, work decided they can't afford to keep everyone and have been making cuts, and Jaden was basically forced to quit. I know he was really worried about his rent and everything, and my roommate was leaving, so I offered for him to stay with me, and we worked out an agreement. We decided that while he's still looking for a job, he'd deal with all the chores and errands and housework. It's honestly been amazing having him live with me. He's such a great cook, and Leah has actually been really well-behaved and sweet. He's helped me out a lot, and I really enjoy being able to spend all this time with him. He has found some part-time work, but nothing that pays enough for him to live alone. So we've mostly kept our agreement, just with me doing more and him helping pay a little. My friends have come over quite a few times, and obviously I've met him. Last weekend I had a bunch of my friends stay over. I thought it went great, but the next day Leah told me she saw Jaden kiss my best friend. I was really upset, and Jaden and I ended up arguing about it. I told him how betrayed I felt. He tried to say it was fine, that apparently the kiss wasn't intentional, and he didn't say anything to me about it because they didn't know what it meant. But it's still wrong. I'm doing so much, only for him to do this to me. I got upset and told him that he'll have to leave if he just wants to take advantage of my kindness. I said that I don't want to live with someone who betrays me like that. He was offended and just tried to act like it was no big deal and that I was being crazy. He thinks I have no right to say anything about his love life, even though it's my best friend and I'm doing so much for him. Our talk didn't really work, but I did talk to my best friend and she agreed to back off. The last few days have been horrible, and he doesn't think he's done anything wrong. I've tried to talk about it, but he now refuses to and has been really cold. He told me that he'll move out as soon as he can. I don't think I've done anything wrong. It's his own fault. I want to work this out, but he shouldn't be going around kissing my friends. But the fighting has really upset Leah, and Jaden obviously thinks I'm the jerk, even if he's being selfish. Edit. I'm not jealous. This isn't about that. I'm not in love with him or anything. I'd know if I was. This is just about him betraying me, about him going behind my back. Clearly, everyone's the type to just hook up without caring about anyone else. There's way too many people to respond to now. Like I've said, it's not about jealousy. I'm not in love with Jaden. It's just rude and ungrateful to sneak around and do what he did. I'm having trouble understanding OP's position. I understand it can be awkward to have two friends hook up because it might cause awkwardness in your social circle, but that's a really easy feeling to articulate, and OP hasn't really made that clear. The only other way this makes sense to me is if she's in love with him, and I wouldn't blame her. The guy's been doing all of her cooking and cleaning for half a year. That basically screams husband material. It also screams live-in maid, but I can see why she'd opt for one over the other. And she refers to herself in one of the comments as Leah's mother figure, so it definitely feels like she sees this as more than a friendship. It's also unclear what she means when she says that she wants to work things out. Wouldn't the best way of doing that be to just stop fighting? The other friend has already said it won't happen again. It's over. It sounds like OP wants some huge admission of guilt. But why should he feel guilty about crossing a line that was never drawn? If he was never told that her friends were off limits, he shouldn't be crucified over this one kiss. At some point, you have to decide if an argument is worth losing a friendship. It doesn't sound like OP wants that to happen, but she's pushing things really hard in that direction. But maybe there's a perspective I'm missing. Is there another reason she'd feel betrayed by this kiss? How would you feel in OP's shoes? Let us know your feelings down in the comments. I refuse to let my brother shower when I'm doing makeup. I'm a 16-year-old female. I do my makeup in the morning because it's something that forces me out of bed. My 12-year-old brother prefers to shower in the morning. This morning, I was in our shared bathroom doing my makeup when he blew up at me, saying, "My hygiene is more important than your looks." I don't think he meant to hurt me, but I fired back, telling him that if he cared so much, maybe he should take a shower at night. He refused and said that he would attract germs in his bed. I offered to help him change his sheets every week so he didn't feel grimy, but he said he had to shower in the morning so he could go to school. The second part of this is that my brother taking a shower every single morning wastes time. He refuses to set an alarm, so I end up waking him up when I wake up. There's about 20 minutes of time while I get dressed and brush my hair and wake up that he could use to shower, but he's still sleeping during that time. On top of all this, my father and I are still making his lunch. He knows how to make his lunch. He just takes a shower and ends up late for his bus, so he cries because he doesn't have his lunch and he's going to starve. I've tried to explain that there's an hour between when he wakes up and he's supposed to be completely ready. I take up maybe 20 minutes in that hour. I also explained that bathing every day can dry your skin out, so he could do it every other day. And he freaked out, telling me that if I do that, I'm disgusting. We have a lot of life stuff going on right now, like my mother recently walking out on us and only seeing us every few months. So my dad says that my brother is processing in his own way. I know I should be patient with him, but he's been driving me crazy. I care about him a lot, but it seems like he doesn't understand. Should I be more patient? Am I the jerk? To clarify, I can't do my makeup in my room because it's an old house, and the lighting is atrocious. I can't see what I'm doing. My family doesn't have the room or money for a makeup light since my mother has been draining our savings. If my brother woke up when he was supposed to, his shower wouldn't be making all of us late. We have to wait for him because sometimes his bus doesn't arrive on time or he doesn't feel like going to school. I also just stay in the bathroom. I don't literally force him out. As much as we drive each other crazy, we respect each other's boundaries. I have a pretty standard morning schedule that I've told him about and explained when he could shower in the morning. He could also use my dad's shower when my dad finishes showering. I wake up at 6 when we're supposed to wake up. My brother sleeps on the first floor and I sleep on the second. He's supposed to be up by 6 as well, as his school starts before mine. I get dressed and do my hair, which I finish by around 6:20 or 6:30. Then I go downstairs and turn on his light, get screamed at for waking him up too late, and leave to do my makeup. At this point, my father is usually done or almost done with his shower, so my brother could use his shower, but won't because his room isn't close to my dad's bathroom, and he doesn't want to bring his clothes in the bathroom to change. He generally showers around 6:40 and then takes forever. He finishes getting ready at around 7:10. His bus arrives at 7:15. He still has to eat breakfast and make his lunch in these 5 minutes. Last, I know the makeup thing sounds dumb, but it's my form of self-care. I struggle with depression, and it's how I stay on schedule. Plus, it's how I feel good about myself. It forces me to put on an outfit and not go to school in what I wore to bed. I'm also neurodivergent, so having a tight schedule is really good for me. If I don't, I become disorganized and sloppy. First of all, I can't believe this is the longest story in this video by about 150 words. It gets more bizarre in the dozens of comments OP wrote about why she can't get a makeup light. When people tried to help her find some that were less than $20, she suddenly had a new reason for not being able to buy one. Namely, she can't unplug her salt lamp. It's not explained why she can't unplug her salt lamp, she just can't. It's also not explained why she couldn't plug the makeup light into an outlet in another room. She then curiously tells us that her room is too small for a bed, and that she was recently hit by a car. I won't even try to unpack the relevance of these details. Either way, it feels like everyone in this story is at least a bit of a jerk. Yet simultaneously, there are no jerks at all. While OP focuses a lot on her depression and neurodivergence, it turns out the entire family actually deals with mental health issues. Furthermore, her brother is dealing with his own depression, which makes sense after his mom walked out on the whole family. Both of these kids need to be more accommodating. It's a little selfish that she tells him her morning schedule and expects him to bend around it. At the same time, he really needs to learn some time management skills, starting with a morning alarm. And the father needs to involve himself more in this dispute. It's crazy how little he features in this story. What do you think? Is either of these kids squarely in the wrong, or do they just need to learn how to compromise? Tell us how you'd handle this if you were the father, since he's the one who should be mediating here. Please leave your stories in the comments. I'd love to make a video of them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.